Well, I don't know about any of you guys, but I hate getting stuck in traffic. It may be the most wasteful and frustrating use of time and resources imaginable. Just think about all of the things that we could be producing for ourselves and society if we never got stuck in traffic. But what if I told you that one of the most successful songs in music history was written while stuck in traffic? For those of us that have driven US 1 from Miami down to Key West, you know that it is essentially a one lane down, one lane back for most of the drive. This is especially true when you reach the 7-mile bridge near Marathon. Any type of accident or disruption of traffic can cause a massive backup that can last an eternity. And this was the case in 1976 as Jimmy Buffett was attempting to return to Key West from a short stay in Austin, Texas, where he had played a few gigs and had started scribbling down a few lines and notes to the song that would launch an empire. And it was while stuck in traffic on the 7-mile bridge that Jimmy would complete the song Margaritaville. This song would become his biggest solo chart topper of his career, peaking at number 8. And it would also be the song that would become synonymous with him and his music brand. It would take another decade for Jimmy to recognize the economic and commercial power of the song. And at its peak, the Margaritaville brand brought in over $2.2 billion a year. Everything from casinos to resorts to cruise ships to blenders to retirement villages to frozen foods to margarita mixes, and yes, even flip-flops had the Margaritaville brand stamped on them. It was a simple song written while stuck in traffic. And it started a multi-billion-dollar empire that is still going strong today. So let's all try to remember that the next time we are stuck in the I-90 parking lot at rush hour. Here's the reason that we're here, Margaritaville.
Watching the Sunday, all those tourists covered in oil, strumming my 6-string on my front porch swing. Smell those shrimp there beginning to boil. Wasted away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost shaker of salt. Some people claim that there's a woman to blame, but I know it's nobody's fault. Don't know the reason, stay there all season. Nothing to show but this brand new tattoo. But it's a real beauty, and Avon Lake cutie. How they got here, I haven't a clue. Wasted away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost shaker of salt. Some people claim that there's a woman to blame. I don't think gift shops, it's the lost birds. Checking out cicadas down by the shore. They dream about weight loss, wish they could be their own boss. 3-day vacations become such a bore. I blew out my flip-flop, stepped down the pop top, got my heel, had the cruise on back home. There's booze in the blender, soon it will render a frozen concoction that helps me hang on. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Wasted away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost shaker song. Some people claim that there's a woman to blame, and I know it's my own damn fault. Some people claim that there's a woman to blame, and I know it's my own damn fault.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. That was great. The success of Margaritaville would propel Jimmy Buffett throughout his career. He would go on to play before sellout crowds around the world for the next 4 decades. And a new species of fanatic was born, the parrot head. In typical cult-like fashion, parrot heads would follow Jimmy from concert to concert, consuming all things tropical and all things Jimmy Buffett related. I don't know who these people are. Jimmy Buffett's shows became legendary excursions of escapism. And as Jimmy himself said, it was a few hours where we can all just go nuts. His words, his songs, talked to us in a way that no other musician ever could. It was escapism. The swashbuckling adventures on the high seas, sailboats, tropical drinks, and far-off islands of mystery. We are all searching for our one particular harbor. And as Kenny Chesney recently said of Jimmy, Jimmy could paint pictures with words. While Jimmy knew the power he had to take us to these exotic locations, he also never forgot his roots and where he came from. His grandfather was a captain on the high seas, and in Jimmy's mind, this was the equivalent of Long John Silver. And it was his grandfather who, perhaps more than anyone else, influenced Jimmy's love of sailing and the ocean. His personal history and his love for the tropics blended perfectly into our next song, Son of a Sailor. Let the words of Jimmy Buffett once again paint a picture in our minds.
As the son of a sailor, I went out on the sea for adventure, spending the view of captain and crew like a man just released from indenture. As a dreamer of dreams and a traveling man, I have chalked up many a mile, thousands of books about heroes and crooks, and I learned much from both of their styles. Son of a son, son of a son, son of a son of a sailor, son of a gun, rode the last ton, one step ahead of the jailer. Now in the near future, southeast of disorder, shake the hand of a mango man as he greets you at the border. And the lady she hails to joy, Tyler of spices, soulful you meet, cinnamon sweet, and the love is for all your devices. Singing as a crowd on the wind out of forefathers' harness for us from Madeira. Bells ring as the tide rigging sings. It's the son of a gun on the chorus. Did that part for Nadir Shakur. I did that once and it stuck, you know. Now I gotta do it every time. Now we're at a lands I can't fathom, my friends. If I knew, I just might toss out the anchor. I cruise along, always searching for songs, not a lawyer, a thief, or a banker, but a son of a son, son of a son, son of a son of a sailor, son of a gun, rode the last ton, one step ahead of the jailer. I'm just a son of a son, son of a son, son of a son of a sailor. Seas in my veins, my tradition remains. I'm just glad I don't live in a trailer.
One of the great traditions and earliest signs of the summer would occur each year, sometime in February or March, when the Jimmy Buffett summer concert dates and ticket sale information would be announced. It would instantly become frustrating and nerve-wracking to coordinate with family and friends on how we would beat the system and score tickets before the inevitable sellout would occur, oftentimes in hours and sometimes in minutes. Now, timing was everything, and this meant a highly technical and coordinated plan to either stand in line for hours early for paper tickets, remember those? Or repeatedly call the 1-800 number for Ticketmaster over and over and over on multiple phones, just hoping that one of those calls gets through and you don't get the busy signal. Then we advanced to the online, where you got put into a virtual queue line and you just hoped that you did not get bumped offline when it was finally your turn. As a professional parrot head, my household had this system down to a science. And so it was strange that the inevitable tour dates and ticket sale information was greatly delayed in early 2022. There had been talk that due to the age of Jimmy and some of the coral reefers, they would be reducing their number of shows per year. Understood. Jimmy had been touring pretty much non-stop for close to 50 years. He deserved a lighter schedule, less dates, and besides, his fans would travel whenever and wherever he played. In February 2023, Jimmy made a sudden announcement that he would be returning to Key West for 2 shows at the new Pavilion Amphitheater. While Jimmy is synonymous with Key West, it is a very rare occurrence to have a full ticketed concert with the entire band on the island. The fast sellout and the excitement from these 2 shows led him to quickly schedule 2 more shows. However, these 2 shows would be mostly stripped down and partially acoustic productions, featuring many of the very early Key West songs and stories from his time there. And these would take place at the Key West Theater, a 278-seat venue just off of Duval Street. The tickets for these 2 shows were specifically intended for Key West locals to get them, and it required them to stand in line and receive a paper ticket the day before the show. He wanted to make sure that it was his fellow islanders that got these tickets. And over the next few days, Jimmy was back on the island. He was photographed riding his bike up and down the streets of Old Town. He would stop into some of his old haunts, and he was visiting with old friends. Knowing the magnitude of Jimmy Buffett's star power in Key West, this struck me as odd. And at the time, I said to my wife, "This feels like goodbye." A couple of months later, Jimmy let it be known that he had been hospitalized for something that required immediate attention, and that growing old was not for sissies. His words. It was also around this time that Jimmy announced that he was completing a brand new album called Equal Strain on All Parts, which is a phrase that his grandfather used to use to describe a good nap. And it would be his 32nd studio album. It was Labor Day weekend, 2023, the end of summer. And on the morning of Saturday, September 2nd, the world awoke to the news that Jimmy Buffett, age 76, had passed away peacefully at his home from Merkel cell carcinoma, a rare and deadly form of skin cancer. He had been diagnosed 4 years earlier. Now, I take great comfort in that his final years that he knew were limited. He began to work on that final album. He wanted to give us one final gift. And that album contained the song Bubbles Up, which he co-wrote with his good friend Will Kimbrough. Bubbles up is a term used by divers as a means to reach safety and the surface. If you become disoriented and lost in the dark depths of the ocean, follow the bubbles up to the surface and the light. What a great metaphor for overcoming the darkest and most difficult times in life. This song, more than any other, became Jimmy's final message to his fans. He was telling us that we will be okay, that he will be okay, and that we will all be okay. Just know that you are loved. There's a light up above, and joy, there's always enough. Bubbles up.
This world starts reeling from that pressure drop feeling, just treading water each day. There's a way to feel better, be well set to weather the storm till the sun shines again. Your compass is spinning and you're lost on the way. Like a leaf in the wind, friend, you're me when I say bubbles up, they'll point you towards home. No matter how deep or how far you roam, they will show you the surface surface, plot and purpose. So when the journey gets long, just know that you are loved. There's light up above, and the joy is always enough. Bubbles up. My friends who are jolly when melancholy knocks, sometimes they let her in. Sit and share stories, flops and glories. It ain't half as bad as the things. Sometimes living's a struggle, multiplied double. But love it too much for the party to end. Bubbles up, they'll point you towards home. No matter how deep or how far you roam, they will show you the surface, the plot and the purpose. So when the journey gets long, just know that you are loved. There's light up above, and joy is always enough. Bubbles up. So let's pop a cork to the rough and the right, to the bright blazing days and the sweet starry night. Bubbles up, they'll point you towards home. No matter how deep or how far you roam, they will show you the surface, the plot and the purpose. So when the journey gets long, know that you are loved. There is light up above, and the joy is always enough. Bubbles up. Bubbles up. Bubbles up. Bubbles up.
In closing, I'd like to offer you one more Jimmy Buffett quote. And I think this sums it up more than anything when Jimmy said, "I ain't the best guitar player in the world. I ain't the best singer in the world. But it's my name on all of these sold out theater signs there. Why? Because I'm the best goddamn Jimmy Buffett in the world." Could everybody please give a round of applause for my son David, who put together the audio visual. I want to thank the Avon Lake Public Library and also ALC TV for recording this. Thank you all for having us. Mr. Michael Ratushin over here as well, too. Remember, he's got hot sauce. He's got hot sauce. And Mr. Micah Kesselring. Now, what would a Jimmy Buffett show be without at least one encore? I think we got time for one more, don't we? Have at it, sir.
What was that? Line shark. All right, everybody, fins at the ready. Fins to the left. Fins to the right. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. It's a feeding frenzy. Here at the Avon Lake Library.
Thank you all for attending.